so it begins. This is the story of Tom Simpleton. Tom lived in the bustling city of the Shire, where he inherited the family business from his late father. Tom became the CEO of Best Brew, one of the largest corporations in the country producing the best beer. But Tom cared nothing about the facts, figures, or graphs. He could not stand the thought of being bound to the desk, going through documents, and going for meetings all day. Much of the company's operations were thus delegated to his most trusted vice chairmen, Phlim and Flem. In the year 3210, the world was brought into a complete standstill when the financial crisis hit it by storm. The business was left in a wreck. Shareholders cornered Tom for an explanation for the staggering drops in share prices. They demanded for a public address on how the company intended to survive the crisis. Otherwise, they would withdraw their investments from the company.
The shareholders gave him only 10 days to do it. Poor Tom did not want to disappoint his late father, and so he had no choice but to comply. However, being ignorant of most of the company's processes, he had no idea on how to go about doing it. Thus, he gathered his most trusted directors and staff for a last-minute meeting. The company is largely influenced by Phlim and Flem. However, Tom had also heard that David, his newest employee, had come up with several creative proposals prior to the crisis. So, he wanted his intelligent opinions on this crucial issue as well. At the meeting, David submitted his proposal for all to review. Everyone took a minute to review it. It was indeed a good suggestion. The plan seemed feasible. With much teamwork, the company would probably be able to get by this crisis well. However, before Tom could comment on David's proposal, Phlim and Flem stood up abruptly. With great energy, speed, and coordination, "Wait!" they exclaimed. "Look at what we've got first." Quickly, the duo pinned up a white sheet of paper. Everyone in the room was bewildered. What were they expected to see? "A genius plan," they said. "It's so genius that it doesn't need any further explanation."
Phlim and Flem announced that with this solution, it would restore the company to its former glory. They had managed to obtain a pen made by a quirky mad chemist and had written the proposal with it. The pen was made with a special kind of ink that would only be visible to those who were competing for their current positions. In other words, those who were not fit for their post would not be able to see anything written on the paper. Tom thought about it. It was brilliant. He could use this to kill two birds with one stone. On one hand, he was convinced that the plan had to have a high level of success. After all, it was coming from his two most favorite employees who had never failed him before. On the other hand, he could use this as a method to see who was fit or unfit for their positions and dismiss them accordingly to save company resources.
To you, my dear audience behind the screen, this must clearly be trickery to you. In fact, neither Tom nor David could see anything on a piece of paper. Phlim and Flem were planning to use this opportunity to overthrow Tom and take over the company for themselves. It was all an evil plot. At this timely moment, David objected and exclaimed, "There is no such ink available anywhere, and absolutely nothing is written on the paper. Goodness! They are trying to make a fool of us. They need to leave at once." Tom was left in deep thoughts. He could see nothing, but he had placed so much trust in Phlim and Flem that he started to doubt himself. But if he was really incompetent to be the CEO of Best Brew, after all, his heart was never in this business. If he agreed with David, he would be saying that he was unfit for his position, and if news got out to the others in the company, the employees would certainly side with Phlim and Flem because of their influence over them. Tom would be made to leave his own company. Such a thought greatly troubled him.
And so, to protect his ego and pride, Tom chose the easy way out. That is, to agree with all that was suggested by Phlim and Flem. And with that, the meeting came to an end. On the day of the public address, the shareholders and employees of the company gathered together with great expectations. But the shareholders were more than bewildered. They could not comprehend the meaning of the blank papers that were presented to them. Many of them were left scratching their heads in confusion. Having been informed about the special invisible ink, none of them questioned it in fear of being looked down upon. Not even the employees dared to raise up this issue for fear of losing their jobs.
Pointing to the paper, Tom exclaimed, "Isn't this genius?"
Everybody in the hall clapped in blind agreement. The applause was quickly brought to a close. Just then, a child of one of the employees stood up from his seat. He was a young boy of not more than 6 years of age. His voice resounded throughout the quiet hall. "There's nothing on the proposal!" The hall became so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Tom shivered. He knew the young boy was right. In embarrassment, Tom Simpleton left the stage and walked quickly out of the hall.